Central Louisiana was an oddity, a weathered town clinging to the vestiges of a faded grandeur. Nestled amidst the swamps, it felt like a forgotten shadow, where time merely served as a tool to deepen the wrinkles on its surface. The yearning whisper of the bayou and the forlorn crowing of the distant loons hung in the air, a constant reminder of the town's cloistered existence. Here, in this somnolent town, Jacob Holloway found his latest mystery. He was a study in contrast, a man generous enough to lend an ear to the silenced whispers, persistent to chip away at the layered facade of the world, and brave enough to chase the demons cloaked in darkness. His eyes, battle-weary yet resolute, flickered with the ghostly glimmer of unspoken stories. Seated at Patty's Diner, Jacob, for the umpteenth time, went through the photos of the graveyard, the supposed hub of weapon dealings. The grizzled waitstaff, Bell, noted his disheveled appearance. "You got that same look again, Jake. Like you're chasing something only you can see." His slight smile did not reach his eyes. Across the tired Formica table, he laid out cryptic police reports and disturbing photographs, all roads leading to the graveyard. There was an edge of obsession to his pursuit, a deeply ingrained itch that stemmed from more than mere journalistic curiosity. As the evening closed in, he found himself walking the cobbled path leading to the town's cemetery. The gnarled trees whispered in the wind, the rustling leaves stirring memories of his past, bringing the hushed echoes of voices he had learned to live with. He paused, shaking his head, trying to separate the eerie whispers from the wind and the phantom chatter of his schizophrenia. Through the murky twilight, the cemetery lay spread before him, a silent testament to forgotten lives and concealed truths. Amidst this eerie solitude, he felt a chilling resonance. He knelt by a tombstone, tracing the obscure symbol etched onto it, a relic of his investigation, and perhaps a harbinger of the darkness to come. In the sanctity of his home, he reflected on the symbol. It danced in his dreams and clawed at his waking thoughts like a grotesque enigma. He knew that his investigation was not merely for the sake of a news story anymore. It was a battle against the shadowy veil draped over Central, the fight against his internal demons, and a call from the depths of his trauma. And so he stood on the precipice of an abyss, the echoes from the dark beckoning him closer. The light of dawn found him at his typewriter, driven by a grim determination. As the first words of his investigation began to fill the blank page, a shudder ran down his spine. Unbeknownst to him, this was the first step into a chilling voyage that would unearth more than just a weapon trade. As he stood, the photograph of the symbol slipped from his grasp, landing upside down. In that flipped perspective, the symbol took on a new, sinister form. His breath hitched. The echo of his heartbeat filled the room. This symbol was not just an obscure sketch. It was a harbinger, a key to the lock he'd inadvertently stumbled upon. He could not yet fathom the depth of the abyss he'd just stepped into, nor the chilling resonance it would hold with his past, his sanity, and the fate of Central itself. The ominous symbol, now a constant specter in his waking world and haunting his dreams, steered Jacob deeper into the heart of Central. The town's apparent ordinariness began to ripple, revealing insidious undercurrents that whispered of deceit and fear. The narrow streets, the hushed taverns, and even the familiar faces that once embodied simplicity now held secrets as tangled as the Spanish moss draping the old oaks. He visited the town library, a dilapidated mansion that held Central's history within its decaying walls. He sifted through musty books and frayed newspapers, searching for the symbol's roots. The librarian, old Mrs. LeClaire, looked at him warily. "Some doors, Jacob, they're best left unopened," she warned, her eyes clouded with an undefined dread. Yet his persistence and relentless courage bore him forward. He felt his schizophrenia gnawing at the edges of his sanity, blurring the line between the terror born of reality and the phantom dread of his mind. He glimpsed the symbol in every shadow, heard whispers in every gust of wind. Still, he trod on, driven by a fervor that belied his fear. Amid the dusty chronicles, he discovered the symbol etched in an old town record dating back 2 centuries. The symbol was associated with a forgotten cult that spoke of an ancient, cosmic deity. His heart pounded, a relentless drum beating a rhythm of dread that reverberated within him. His journalistic instinct screamed that this was not mere superstition, but a link to the weapon dealings, a clue to the true terror besieging Central. Nightfall found him once again amidst the tombstones, their stony faces bathed in the ethereal glow of the moon. The graveyard, a sleeping beast by day, was now alive with chilling energy. He moved cautiously, each crunch of gravel under his shoes echoing the pounding in his chest. The air was thick with an alien aura, a palpable unease that crept along his spine. Suddenly his eyes fell upon a group of townsmen near a mausoleum, their forms distorted under the cloak of darkness. Their voices were low murmurs, distorted and echoing, almost as if they were not of this world. His gaze landed on the familiar face of the town's mayor, a figurehead of normalcy and leadership. Yet here he was, in the heart of darkness, his eyes glowing an unnatural hue. It was the same eerie glow he'd noticed in others, a sinister glow he'd thought was a trick of his schizophrenia. In the townsmen's hands were weapons, their cold metal glinting ominously under the moonlight, and among them he spotted the symbol, carved into the stock of the guns, a harbinger of the terror that was slowly creeping over Central. His pulse hammered in his ears, and a chill wind swept across the graveyard, carrying whispered words, the echo of an ancient and alien chant. He slipped away unnoticed, his mind teetering on the edge of comprehension and madness. As he walked home, the town of Central looked different, shrouded in shadows of deceit. The truth had begun to surface, piecing itself together in a monstrous mosaic of terror. His sleep was plagued with nightmares where the townsfolk's eyes glowed ominously, and the symbol burned brighter with each beat of his heart. He awoke with a start, his sheets soaked with sweat, the taste of fear fresh on his tongue. With the dawn's light seeping into his room, he made a resolute decision. He was about to delve into the veil of the unknown, to confront the horrific reality of his town. The next day brought with it a shroud of dread, hanging heavy over the town of Central. Yet amidst this gloom, Jacob found his resolve hardened. The echoes of the unearthly chant still lingered in his ears, intertwining with the whispers of his schizophrenia, a haunting symphony that sang of an impending darkness. With the newfound knowledge of the symbol's meaning, he sought to understand its connection with the local townsfolk. His pursuit led him to the doorstep of the one man who seemed to stand separate from the town's peculiarities, a recluse known as Old Man Crawley. Crawley's cabin stood on the outskirts of town, where the bayou gave way to the wild expanse of the swamp. The cabin itself seemed a relic of forgotten times, much like its owner. Amidst this backdrop of seclusion, Jacob found an unlikely ally in the cryptic Crawley. His eyes, old and knowing, held a spark of curiosity as he listened to his tale. In the flickering candlelight, Jacob unveiled his discoveries. He presented the photographs of the graveyard, the accounts of the ancient cult, and the weapons adorned with the terrifying symbol. Throughout his explanation, Crawley remained quiet, his silence adding a weight of apprehension to the atmosphere. When Jacob finished, Crawley finally spoke. His voice, raspy with age, was filled with an unsettling gravity. This town's been touched by something that's not of this world. He revealed the horrifying truth of the symbol, confirming Jacob's worst fears. It was the mark of an ancient, malevolent, extraterrestrial power, a parasite that had entwined itself with the town's soul. Jacob's heart pounded, his blood ran cold. The voices in his head screamed louder, the spectral echoes of his schizophrenia mingling with the chilling revelation. He felt the veil lifting, revealing a world where his internal demons walked hand in hand with the terrifying reality of Central. With Crawley's revelation, the town seemed even more sinister. The people he'd known his entire life were not just entrapped in a web of illegal weapon dealing, but were marionettes dancing to the tune of an alien entity. Their eyes, once warm and familiar, now held an otherworldly glow, a testament to their eerie transformation. Haunted by this chilling realization, he found himself drawn back to the graveyard. Amidst the tombstones bathed in the pale moonlight, he stood alone, staring at the symbol etched on the graves. He felt the echoes of the alien chant filling the silence of the night, the whispers of his schizophrenia joining the symphony. As the wind howled through the skeletal branches of the trees, He couldn't help but shudder. His sanity, so long his faithful companion, now seemed on the brink of a precipice. Yet he knew he couldn't turn back. His determination, the steadfast journalistic spirit, propelled him deeper into the abyss. Sitting alone in his dimly lit home, the horrors of his findings loomed large. The weight of his discovery pressed upon his weary shoulders. He was now facing a cosmic horror that promised to eclipse his darkest nightmares. And it was then that he truly realized the truth was not just beneath the veil, but had wrapped itself around him, pulling him into a dance with the dark, and the world was spiraling into the next chapter of his terrifying journey. The arrival of dawn did little to dispel the darkness that had seeped into the heart of Central, or the chill that had taken root in Jacob's soul. The once familiar town was now an alien landscape, its everyday rhythms now humming to a sinister, otherworldly tune. Even as his mind grappled with the terrifying truth, he knew he had to press on. He was no longer just a journalist. He had become the torchbearer of truth in a town swallowed by shadows. Back at Crawley's cabin, he sought guidance on how to combat this cosmic force. The old man, however, looked at him with a solemn gravity. "You're walking on a path that ain't meant for humans, Jake. This power, it's older than time, vaster than the universe. You can't fight it, but maybe..." He hesitated, his gaze drifting to the dark expanse outside the window. "Maybe you can learn to dance with it." A cold dread coiled in Jacob's stomach at the thought. Yet as he recalled the glow in the townsfolk's eyes, the power humming beneath the surface of Central, he felt an unexpected sensation, not just of terror, but an inexplicable allure. Could he indeed learn to dance with this darkness? Could he channel this power to uncover the depths of the weapon dealings and save his town? Driven by this audacious resolve, he plunged into the heart of the nightmare. He ventured into the graveyard at the dead of night, the symbol etched into his mind guiding him towards the macabre gathering. He felt the alien entity pulsating around him, its cosmic rhythm throbbing in the air. The townsfolk, their eyes glowing with an eerie light, were engrossed in their ritualistic chant, oblivious to his presence. His heart hammered in his chest, his schizophrenia echoing the alien chant, a discordant harmony that began to attune to the cosmic rhythm. The lines between his reality and madness blurred, his soul teetering on the brink of an abyss. And then, as if responding to his internal turmoil, the symbol on a tombstone glowed, casting an otherworldly light that pulsed in time with his heartbeat. At this moment, he found himself extending his hand to the symbol. He felt a chill run up his spine, a sense of foreboding that sent a shiver through his soul. But his persistent spirit willed him on. As his fingers traced the outline of the symbol, a sudden rush of energy surged through him. His vision blurred, the world around him warping as a flood of cosmic knowledge washed over him. It was terrifying and captivating, a dance with the dark he had willingly joined. When his senses returned, he found himself alone in the graveyard. The alien chant still echoed in his ears, now a part of his being. He had touched the untouchable, danced with the very entity that had invaded his town. He had peered into the cosmic abyss and let it gaze back into him. His path led him back home, where the typewriter awaited him. With each word he typed, he felt the alien entity stirring within him. His story was no longer just an expose of the weapon dealers, but a chronicle of an encounter with a cosmic horror. The terror, the allure, the descent into madness, and the dance with the dark. He poured it all onto the pages, a chilling testament to his transformation. As he wrote, he knew his life as a simple journalist was forever altered. He was no longer just Jacob Holloway of Central Louisiana. He had become a dancer in the cosmic ballet, an interpreter of an alien rhythm, an emissary of a power older than time itself. The void had embraced him, and he in turn had embraced the void. The story he wrote was not the end, but a terrifying new beginning. Thus, in the gloaming of his old life and the dawn of his newfound existence, Jacob discovered an uncanny harmony. It was a harmony forged in the heart of a cosmic horror, the echoes of a dance with the dark that would reverberate through the remainder of his days. We appreciate you tuning in. If you fancied the content, show your support with a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to keep up with our eerie adventures. Eldritch Tales Factory has plenty more to offer. Until next time.